All right then, I guess let's get this going. Welcome everybody to the Casual Football Friends podcast, or the Casual Football Friends show.
With friends.
Well, every
Casual
word in that in the title has inverted commas around it, so it's like casual football friends.
Yeah.
And
real
show.
Emphasis on the word casual.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, let's actually start on the football. So, what are we talking about in this podcast is basically what it is on the tin, right? It's going to be about football. We're going to be talking about what mostly our joint team, Leicester City.
Yes, Leicester City Football Club, and they kick off their season on Monday. Next Monday.
On Monday. So the season starts on Friday with Manchester United versus Fulham, carries on through the weekend, and then Leicester versus Tottenham is the tail end of it. So we are
the big one.
Yeah, that's the big one. That's the the bottom layer of the sandwich. Like what's keeping this set of fixtures together. So remember, everybody, get your football fantasy Premier League teams in before Friday, and don't fuck up. Don't miss the first week.
Have you joined a fantasy league?
Yeah, I've joined a fantasy league. I've set up a charity league at work, so I'm doing my bit for the community. That's the one bit of charity I'm doing this year.
Yeah, our work, they've started it as well. I just haven't joined yet, but I'm going to join tomorrow because it's coming up to crunch time. So join and get those players in.
Did you end up watching the Community Shield last weekend on Saturday? I thought it was going to be on Sunday, and then got caught off guard that it was on Saturday, and I was like, shit. I was like in the middle of a barbecue, so I ended up having to delay things a bit.
Well, we went to Serena's cousin's house, so we watched bits. So I caught bits of it.
Okay.
And it was like when we were on the radio and we watched Man City, Man United in the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
And it was the first time ever that we were rooting for Man United. In our whole lives. It was the first time we ever thought, I want Man United to win this. And then watching the Community Shield, I was like, I'd like Man United to win this. and then they won. And but then a lot of when I went to work, they said that there's a Man United fan.
Just to double check on this, so the Man United didn't win. They went to penalties and lost.
Oh no, that's it. Sorry, the Man United lost. That's it. Sorry, I completely got confused there. Man United lost to Man City, but then I went into work on Monday, and there's a Man United fan, because we all have a Man United fan just lingering around somewhere. And he said to me, "Well, for the last 4 seasons, every team that's lost the Community Shield has gone on to win the league."
That's because it's always been City.
They've all been Man City. So I think some Man United fans are now seeing this as a good omen that they're going to go on to win the league now.
I think they have a lot to be encouraged about, because when you actually look at the performance, it was pretty much toe to toe in terms of United and City. Fair enough that there weren't a whole lot of first team players back for both teams, but I think, considering the type of football United were playing for large portions of last season, especially at the beginning of the season, it's credit to them. They actually had a good performance, and I thought they kind of deserved to win. It's just that the last 10 minutes, they were never going to hold out with a right winger at right back, then defending But
I think
it's a good curtain opener.
They put a lot of pressure on, and then when they got the goal, they went ahead. That was great.
Yeah,
but then they just couldn't hold on.
No. But, at the end of the day, what is the charity, we still call it the Charity Shield, the Community Shield. It's kind of a glorified friendly, so it's very hard to read too much from it. But it's, it sets the tone for the very beginning of the season. It's a good curtain raiser. I don't actually know if it is still charity, by the way.
I think it is. When I play it on FIFA, it's still charity. I don't get any money from it. But it's
fair enough.
But I think it's the way to look at the Community Shield is it's basically the opening ceremony of the season. That's what it is. It's now the season will begin 1 week later. And I still remember a few seasons ago, Leicester won the Community Shield. Yeah,
we did. Iheanacho penalty won it against Man City, who then went on to win the league.
Against Man City. There we go. See, if Leicester lost it, we'd have gone on to win the league.
Again, it would have been magical. in terms of the rest of the football that happened this weekend, did you catch any of the championship results?
No, I know the championship has started, but I haven't really looked at the championship because I'm very much a biased league person now. If there's a league that Leicester are in, I pay attention to that league. So that's why last season I didn't watch a lot of the Premier League because Leicester was in the Championship, and now I think I'm too good for the Championship because we have now been promoted to the Premier League. So I haven't watched a lot of. I didn't watch a lot of the results, but I'm sure you watched a lot of them.
No, because not really.
No, you didn't.
No. Well, I took notice of results. Like I did keep up with what was going on because there are a few like talking points here and there in terms of the Championship. So I saw like Rooney in his first competitive match with Plymouth lost 4-0 to Sheffield Wednesday. Oh. So yeah.
Well, he tried.
He tried, and. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this club is going to become the nail in the coffin that is like Wayne Rooney's managerial career. To be honest, I quite like him as like a personality. I don't know if you watch him on like Stick to Football or like sometimes he's on Sky Sports and stuff. Like he seems like he knows what he's talking about and he just seems kind of fun. But I don't know if it would be quite hard to take him seriously as a manager purely because it's like I don't know if this guy knows more than me.
Well. You know what? With Sheffield Wednesday, Rooney's Sheffield Wednesday now. I don't keep up to date with Rooney. No, it's Plymouth, isn't he? Sorry.
Rooney's Plymouth. They lost 4-0.
I'm still thinking he was at Derby. But the thing is, though, is that we look at clubs like Sheffield Wednesday. I would actually like Sheffield Wednesday to get promoted.
Is it because you're old and you think that they're like a historical club that belong in the Premier League? Because a lot of older people say this, where they're like, Sheffield Wednesday is a proper Premier League club back in the day, and so is like Coventry and Villa.
Oh no, not Coventry. No, they can stay where they are. But it's we're Leicester City fans, Coventry. But it's the thing is, though, it's like some people say the league is richer when you have the old school clubs in there, like your Sheffield Wednesday, even Leeds United as well, because of the history they've got. Derby County, if they're still around in the next couple of seasons,
I don't necessarily buy into any of that though. Like I think it is purely
just more than a nostalgia trip.
Yeah, it's a nostalgia trip because obviously like I didn't start watching football until the mid 2000s. Like that's when I was old enough. And for me, like if I applied the same kind of nostalgia, the same kind of logic, then it'd be like Bolton, historical Premier, Charlton Athletic,
Blackburn Rovers.
Yeah, literally Blackburn Rovers. Like I always remember, when they were like in Europe and Mark Hughes was the manager and they had like. They had Morten Gamst Pedersen playing off the wing, and I was like, "This guy's amazing." But I don't think of them. I don't think, oh man, the Premier League would be richer with them in it. Like it's just, it's purely a nostalgic thing.
Well, they won it once upon a time.
They did,
but they're gone.
They did.
They won it.
Yeah, and they're one of the only other teams other than us who have like upset the odds, except back in the 90s rather than. It was a solid 20 years between the titles.
Leicester have done it all though. We've won the league, won the FA Cup, won the Community Shield, and got relegated. I mean,
we won the League Cup as well a few times back in the 90s.
A lot of people forget that. Like a lot of people talk about how Leicester won the Premier League and everything, but we did win the League Cup. I remember when Steve Guppy was there. I remember it was a great day.
Yeah, it's like I've said it.
It's Tranmere Rovers.
The Tranmere Rovers, and then the other one was against Middlesbrough. So that was, I feel like, it was a really special one. I don't know about you, but does like Emil Heskey reserve a very special place in your heart?
He does.
He does, right? Like it's not just me. It's anyone from Leicester that's like around our age, maybe a little bit older. I feel like Heskey had to have visited your school at some point when he was still playing for Leicester, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's Emil!" And like everyone ran up to the stage to see. He was like a fucking rock star when he used to come.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then when he went to Liverpool, everyone was devastated.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I used to love him.
I mean, a lot of people hated Peter Taylor back then for getting rid of Heskey. We were very, very upset.
I think it was a club record bid. I think it was 11 million, which was like a lot back in the 90s, late 90s. But it was really sad because it was the game after we first played Heskey and Collymore together, and we beat Sunderland. I think it was 5-2, and Collymore scored a hat trick. and everyone was like, "This is like the beginning of a new beautiful partnership between Heskey and Collymore," and then Heskey then gets sold immediately afterwards, and yeah, it's a tale. It's a tale of like what could have been, basically.
Yeah, we could have been. We could have finished mid-table that season. Who knows?
Probably did. Back then, that was kind of like our MO. So, in terms circling back to the Championship, I saw that Luton lost to Burnley 4-1 at home. So it's like a Premier League game last season, now in the Championship. I don't know about Luton coming back up. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if they can. I don't know if they have it like strength in depth to be able to pull that off. Like how we and Southampton did last season.
Well, you just got to have that different kind of pedigree about you. But the thing is, what last season showed was what is the gap between the Premier League and the Championship, and what clubs have to do to stay in there. And the three that came up the season before didn't make the right changes to survive in the Premier League. They didn't do it, and they did great to get out of the Championship. But then it's like, now this is going to be the task for Leicester now, and we've seen it. Like, not only do you get promoted, you've now. If anything, it's not the easy bit, but that's the fun bit, is getting promoted. Now it's the hard bit, which is you're there now. Now you got to stay. Now you got to prove why you should stay there.
And we've seen it time and time again, where a team will play this idealistic football, beautiful football in a Championship, go up, and then get fucking smashed week after week, and you think to yourself, if you were a bit more pragmatic with the way you played, maybe you'd have stood a chance. Whereas like the team who maybe finishes second or in the playoffs, a lot of the time they're a bit more cautious. They're like, we're not just gonna. We know we didn't finish as champions, so we're not going to be as gung-ho in the Premier League, and often that fits better for them. Like, okay, last season, the 3 teams that went up went back down. Burnley basically did what we did the season before and played beautiful football. They decided that they were going to do exactly the same thing in the Premier League, and they made mistake after mistake after mistake. So it just kind of shows it doesn't just transfer across, and I genuinely believe that if we still had Maresca ball going into the Premier League, I feel like we'd be down by Christmas.
Well, Chelsea have got that to look forward to now. I think Maresca was... I was very much on the Maresca hype train.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, come on, Enzo. He's Italian. He's a good-looking guy. He trained under Pep. He's made Leicester City sexy again. Who knew?
I like
there was a lot of flaws there.
I was going to say, I like how one of the big selling points of his football career is he's hot. To you, like, you know what? He's sexy. Well, so the football he plays must be sexy.
Well, I remember when there was like. Every season there seems to be like a little who's going to be the next Leicester City manager. That seems to be happening every season now.
Yeah.
And then and he full on got Serena's approval. Enzo did. She was like, yeah, he would make a good manager. I go, for what reason? Look at him. I was like, okay. But now she's not saying the same about Steve Cooper though.
Oh God, yeah, I can imagine. Did she? Out of curiosity, when she said that, did a little part of you just go, "Oh well, fuck this guy"? And, my wife finds him attractive.
Maybe I'll shave my head. But the thing is, in all seriousness, with Maresca, at first the football was actually pretty good, and the results we were getting were great.
Yeah.
Like, we were playing good football, and we're getting good results, and it was like, okay, we were on for a record points tally. We were literally on for it. But then it started to show that he didn't actually have a plan B.
Like whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like whenever, he was very good at holding, we were very good at holding the ball, but then we were never really strong in the final third. We'd always get the odd, attack in there, then Vardy would just pump it in there, or Iheanacho would. But we were never that strong in the final third. That was always our issue with Maresca. If we continued that style into the Premier League, we'd go right back down. So maybe it's a good thing that he's gone.
Yeah, I think a lot of Leicester fans are on the same page when it comes to that. Yeah. Okay, so going forward into this season, I feel like the crux of whether I feel optimism or pessimism is this points deduction, and I think it's the same for all Leicester fans, right? In the sense that, if it's up to about 5-6 points, I think it's doable still, but anything more. And I think then the next hope just becomes, please don't get the lowest record score, record points total. Don't do a derby basically. Although we'll always have that caveat of you got deducted like 10 points or whatever, then you can use that.
I think that's the scary point when it gets into double digits. I think that's when it gets scary. But also the thing is, we don't actually know what the points deduction is yet.
Yeah, and I think that's huge.
And the season starts this weekend, and we don't even know it.
Yeah, and that's huge. That's ridiculous that we still don't know it, because the charges were brought against us back in like March, was it? So it's kind
we should have known at the start of these pre-season friendlies. We should have known what the points deduction is going to be. So, and also the team should have known. So they can work out how they're going to. The first few run of games were actually not too bad. What we've got, we could actually get some good results. But now, if they tell us if it's literally Friday, we find out what the points deduction is. I think that's bullshit. We should already know it. But if it's 6 points, if it's 3 points, if it's 10 points.
The Premier League is like a body of all of the Premier League teams individually joined as one, right? So when they carry out these punishments, it's like they have their own independent boards and who they appoint to each case. The idea is that it keeps it completely fair. The thing is that this litigation and all of this bureaucracy, it can take a lot of time. So I think what's happened at the moment is the Premier League is so swamped with different cases, because it's not just us. It's the Everton cases. It's the Man City's, obviously.
The Man City is the biggest one.
Yeah, really. They're so overwhelmed by those separate cases that I think they're just understaffed. They're underfunded in order to actually see to them. Although they have,
I don't think the Premier League is underfunded.
Not under. You know what I mean? Like they don't have the resources.
The NHS.
They don't have the resources, and to actually see to all of them at once. And obviously, because you can only hire so many lawyers, right? Like if you want to actually win the case, then there's only so many lawyers that you can get who like specialize in sports law, who can then actually win the case for you, rather than just going, I don't know, this guy, he's my cousin, he's a lawyer, he can do the job.
Trust him. He's my brother.
He's my brother. Exactly.
But you know what? If it's a 6 point deduction, I'd actually take that, because I think we can survive on that. A couple of good wins. I actually think we might get a result against Tottenham on Monday. I actually think we've got. Vibes, I think we might get a result against.
Vibes is such a huge thing to carry you through at the early stage of the season when it comes to the getting promoted. A lot of the time, newly promoted teams will have this like flourishing start where they get points left, right, and centre, and everyone's like, "Wow, look at them!" And it's the middle of the season where they start to go back down. And that happened to us. I don't know if you remember back like 10 years ago when we first got promoted. That happened to us where we started the season amazingly, and we got surprise results. Not, I wouldn't say surprise. We won. We got a draw against Everton, and we won. I think it was Stoke away, and obviously the win against Man United, the 5-3. So.
Oh, that was amazing. I'll tell you a little thing about that. When we were playing Man United, I'll let you finish in a second, but we were away. I was away in a hotel room. It was Serena's birthday, so we went to Chesterfield for her birthday, and then she went down to get some spa treatment done. And she goes, "Taryn, do you want to come?" And then I turned on the TV, and it was Leicester versus Man United, and I said, "No." And I'm thinking, thank God I said no, because I stayed and watched that. That was probably one of the best games I'd ever seen. Like when Cambiasso scored that equaliser, I about pissed my pants. Yeah, it was amazing. And Vardy, I think that was the game that really Vardy kind of he came on the scene. He presented himself like this is the guy. I think that was it.
I was actually at that game, and the corner where Cambiasso slid after his goal, I was like, that's where I was at. Yeah. So that was a very special game for me as well. It was like, wow, this is the Premier League.
This was it, and it showed that. And one thing that was great, it showed that we belonged there. That game, it showed that even though we won the Premier League like the following season, I still look at that game as like that was something special.
Yeah, that's a defining game. That's a definitive game of the Premier League era for us, and in a sense that it announces you on the stage, on the world stage at that point, because everybody watches Man United. Everybody watches like the big teams, right? You win the win against Stoke away. Probably half the world didn't care, but it's the win against Man United is huge, and that's really set the tone for us. result, when you think about it, that result kind of exemplified the idea of like the Foxes Never Quit stuff that they were throwing around back then, because what happened in that game where it looked like we were dead and buried basically was like a microcosm of what ended up happening in our entire season, where we looked dead and buried, and then a late flourish carried us through, and all of a sudden we finished quite comfortably. So
but we were the first team to be bottom at Christmas and survive.
Yeah, was that true? Is that true?
I don't think any team's ever done that before. I think the rule of thumb is if you're bottom at Christmas, that's it. You're done.
I think
you're going down.
I don't know if West Brom did it like back in the mid-2000s.
I'm not too sure.
I don't know.
You have to check that
because I think they were the first team to do it. But yeah, we'll take a look in a bit. Also, talking about Leicester, have you seen? So one of the bits of news I wanted to do today, Leicester have been given, and this is crazy to me, and I feel like obviously I'm not a betting man, but I feel like you might want to take a punt on this. Yeah, William Hill have given Leicester 450 to 1 odds to finish in the top 10. 450. You could. I mean, obviously, it is super unlikely, especially with the points deduction. But
450 to 1. That's worth putting a tenner on that, just for the sake of it.
Just about to say, you're winning nearly $5,000 just for a tenner would be ridiculous.
I might do that actually.
I'm not going
to do that. I'm gonna. You know what? That's it. I'm gonna put a tenner on that. William Hill. I'm gonna put £10 on Leicester to finish in the top 10.
Yeah.
Hey, you never know.
You never know.
It might happen. It won't, but it might happen. You never know.
Also, I want to just clarify this: the casual football friends, we're not here to endorse gambling or to promote William Hill specifically. I just thought that would be a crazy.
And if you are going to gamble responsibly.
If you want, I mean, I'm not your dad.
Oh, thank God for that. If you are going to gamble responsibly, because there's nothing better in gambling than winning. When you lose in gambling, it's the worst thing and it can destroy lives. But when you win in gambling, keep going.
That's your
message.
What if you lose the very first bet and it puts you off gambling for the rest of your life? Then technically, that's a good. Then that's a good loss, right?
Then there you go. At least you can say you've done some gambling. You lost. You learned from it, and you never did it again. If you lose and then keep losing, then you need to sort your life out. But if you
you're kind of an idiot if you lose and you keep losing.
You keep losing. Maybe gambling isn't for you. But one of the biggest wins I ever got gambling was I won 150 quid because I put some money on Leicester to beat Chelsea in the FA Cup.
The other thing, so we've got apparently. We've got Adam Holozek coming in on an initial loan, and if we stay up, then it'll be 20 million to obligation to buy. So that'll be he's a very familiar name to like video game football fans of like the last 5 years, because he's always been like one of these hot prospects that people are like he's going to become the next big thing. And he was part of the Bayer Leverkusen team last season, who lost one game all season, which was the final game of the season, the Europa League final.
That wonder season that they had.
Yeah, so he's a winner, which is what we need.
But I read something a player who might be coming to Leicester. It's coming for me. You might have the same one written down.
I think we do. Is it Wilfried Zaha?
It is. It's Wilfried Zaha.
Yeah.
Wilfried Zaha.
Wouldn't Wilfried Zaha coming to Leicester be so beautifully full circle? Because Zaha, as far back as I can remember, even dating back to when us and Palace were both in the Championship, Zaha would terrorise us every single time he played for us. There's certain players that just always have a 10 out of 10 game when they play your team specifically.
Yeah.
Zaha was that guy. Like, he got Puel sacked. I don't know if you remember, we lost like 4-1, 4-0 to Crystal Palace, and that was Puel's last game, and Zaha killed us. So there is a part of me which is like, it would be so amazingly wonderful to see him play for us for once.
Yeah, I heard he's going to come on a similar situation. He's going to come on loan from Galatasaray. He's going to come to us and then hopefully stick around if it all works out. If you're going to look at any team, who's the one to watch besides Leicester, I think Ipswich are actually going to be an interesting team to see. What they will actually do, because how long has it been? Like 20 years since they were in the Premier League?
It's been, I'm pretty sure it was like 2001 when they were last in the Premier League, so that's more than 20 years. It's nearly 25. It's been a long time. Kieran McKenna is like his up and coming, like really attacking coach, and the football that they were playing in the Championship and the League One was really exciting. So it's like, how will that translate to the Premier League?
Well, they've got to make those changes. That's what it is. It's like what we were talking about earlier. The Championship is one thing, but then when you get promoted, you've got to make those adjustments, which I hope Leicester does as well. Well, Leicester they have no choice. They have to, because they've changed managers, so they have to make the adjustments. But it's just what we saw it last season with the 3 teams that went down. They didn't make the adjustments to cope in the Premier League. Will Ipswich make those changes? I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
To try and stay in there. That's what I'm thinking. Ipswich will be a very interesting team to watch, just to see what they do and how they cope in the Premier League.
Yeah, definitely. There's a number of teams, like, will, for example, Crystal Palace be able to carry on their form towards the end of last season into this season, where they were playing some amazing stuff, and obviously they've lost Michael Elise, who's gone to Bayern Munich, but it's like, if they can adjust, if they can get somebody in to replace them, like the actual style, the core values of the football that they were playing, I think really holds up.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see them. Will Everton finally get relegated?
I don't think they will.
It's their last season at Goodison Park this season as well.
I don't think they will. They genuinely, under Sean Dyche, have improved so much over these last couple of years since he's come in. And like last season, if they didn't get the points deduction, they would have finished like 10th. So yeah,
it's just a couple of seasons. They've always been hovering around that relegation for the past few seasons. It's like, are they eventually going to just go down? But I think it's the last season at Goodison Park as well. So
yeah, before they moved to Bramley Moor Docks, is it? Do you know?
I think so.
They're basically the scenario, and like, when like a bad guy on a TV show gets killed, like, he looks like he's dead and buried, and then he somehow comes back a few episodes later, and it just happens over and over again. And the people watching the show are just like, why won't you just die? That's basically
it's back again.
It's back again. Like, how is this guy still alive? It's basically what Everton are, isn't it? It's like the Premier League is just constantly, throwing points deductions at them and going, just fucking stay down. But they I admire them for it, to be honest with you. I think it's quite cool to see that level of resilience, and it's Dyche ball. It's Dyche ball. He's got a pragmatic way of keeping his teams just safe. Pickford had a hell of a season last season. If he can do it again this season, then I don't see why it won't continue.
Yeah, Dyche ball. Say we like what Sean Dyche. He gets results.
He gets results. Exactly. With certain types of teams, we haven't seen him yet with like a team that's expected to dominate. So we don't know yet. Because lots of people are calling for him to be England manager, and I was like, what?
Well, the thing is that he's never been given the chance to have a team of purely quality players.
No.
He's never had the chance to do it. But with the teams he has been given, he's actually done all right.
Yeah, no, he has. So, he's done very well for the teams he has been given. But it's like certain managers, obviously he haven't given a chance to prove it yet. But certain managers don't suit the teams that are expected to dominate, because their style of football just isn't that. Like, okay, Big Sam's a perfect example of that. Big Sam was never going to be like, a successful big team manager, because his style of football inherently favors smaller teams, and it's a lot more pragmatic. It's a lot more long ball, header it down, it causing chaos in the opposition end, which it doesn't suit like Arsenal or a Man United or a Man City.
They play a different style.
Yeah,
that's because the players that they've got play a different style, and they do. When the quality players want to have more passing motion. But you do get those managers who kind of just do the rounds. Yeah. You do. And Big Sam is one of those who does the rounds.
He's been missing for a while now, but I think it's because he himself has retired. But he really did the rounds. Like, he went Bolton, Newcastle, Blackburn. Was he Everton at one point? I think he was Everton at one point. Was he West Ham at one point? There's so many managers like that which have just kind of gone.
Yeah, Steve McLaren's another one. Does the rounds.
Jamaica's very own number one.
There you go.
I thought it'd be good to finish today's episode with our very first edition of ClickMates.
I've been waiting for this.
Do you want to tell the audience what ClickMates is?
ClickMates, basically. If you've ever been online, been on Facebook, been on Instagram, and all those, or even on X, formerly known as Twitter, and then you see an article and you think, oh, what is this? And it's about we're talking about sport today. You see a sports article, you click on it, and it would have some weird headline, and then you read it, and it's all bullshit. And so ClickMates is basically looking at those clickbait articles that lure you in, and then you read it, and then you find out with just one quick Google search that it is all nonsense.
All nonsense. And I see this more and more nowadays because social media has become this unfiltered mess. Facebook, every other post, and I'm only on Facebook because of comedy and because it's the only place that you can book gigs. Facebook, every other post now, since they made a change like a year ago, is a clickbait post. And I thought this one is quite a fun one to share. So it is from a page called Footballer. So, nice and generic. Nice and generic, definitely. You know what he specializes in. So he says, unpopular facts in football. Dele Alli at 21 is better than Bellingham at 21. My question to that is Bellingham even 21 yet? for him to make...
He is now, actually. I need to look that up now.
I got it. He's born in 2003. Yeah, so he's been 21 since June 29th. So for about a month.
It's about a month he's been 21.
Yeah. So
it's like, give the guy a chance.
But, I mean, first of all, I think Dele Alli back in the day was amazing. And, there is an argument there that I think he's a very different type of player as a thing to Jude Bellingham. Like, Dele Alli was much more of a second striker. Bellingham... He's played as a false nine for Real Madrid a lot of the season, but I think he ultimately is somebody who's a bit further back, who, is a bit more dynamic. Dele Alli was incredible, but I don't know about him being better than Jude Bellingham at 21, considering Bellingham's won the Champions League and the player of the season, and he's basically become the best player in Spain overnight this one season.
I know, I mean... There is some people who try to argue that Bellingham's overrated and stuff like that, but he's not. It's like, because during the Euros, he didn't perform as well as he has done for Real Madrid. We'll talk about the overhead kick he did and all that. That was great. I think he scored in the first game as well against Serbia as well, didn't he? But he did some great things. But he didn't perform as well as we hoped. But it's not really a comparison, though, is it?
It's not.
But the sad thing about Dele Alli is he's one of those players which what could have been. It's like he was at Spurs. He was part of that Spurs team that was chasing Leicester when we won the Premier League.
Yeah.
And he was a good player for what he was. For England, he was playing for England at a time where it was just towards the transition period when we were changing. So he was just. The timing wasn't there for him there, but
no.
But if you were a manager, and you had Dele Alli and Jude Bellingham, both 21, who are you starting with?
Jude Bellingham.
There you go.
Yeah, it's Jude Bellingham.
There's no discussion on that.
No discussion on that. And again, I think Dele Alli was amazing, and he did score a lot of goals in the Premier League. And again, that season when they were chasing us, very good. He was incredible under Poch, but I just think Bellingham is that cut above. I think that's why Bellingham is a generational talent, whereas a lot of people who have been at Ali's level are very, very good footballers. They do kind of have their career is kind of more straight line. Bellingham's just seems to be an exponential line that just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, Dele Alli is one of those players where they've reached their glass ceiling quite early.
Dele Alli, the thing is, there are always going to be those mitigating circumstances. He obviously has mental health problems, and I think that will affect you. So it's hard to say kind of what would have been.
Yeah,
but I think Pochettino leaving Spurs also really didn't help him, because then he played for Mourinho, who he just didn't suit his style of football.
Yeah. Sometimes a manager can affect a player massively.
Yeah, of course.
Because if that manager's style is not suitable for that player, then that player becomes redundant.
Yeah,
and that's why they have to move. That happens to all clubs. But if Bellingham's one of those where you look at him, you think, he's going to be an England captain one day.
Yeah,
he's gonna, he's gonna be winning the Ballon d'Or at some point.
Yeah.
You look at him, you think like, he might win a trophy for England one day.
Yeah.
Who knows?
If anyone's going to lead us to a trophy, it'll probably be him.
Yeah, and when Kane retires, and then
the cast is
but Bellingham's one of those. You could see it during the Euros, he is already the natural leader, and that's why in Spain he's so celebrated already at Real Madrid.
Exactly, and that's why he's part of that superstar team. The point too, which I find really funny on this list, and again, this is no slight against him personally. I don't really know his game that well, but it's just funny to me because of how Chelsea are treating him now. This says Trevor Chalobah is among the top 5 centre backs in the Premier League.
It's a bold statement.
I mean, bold is one word, yeah. Bold is one way to describe it. So let's talk about Trevor Chalobah, as limited knowledge as I have of Trevor Chalobah. So currently he's on the transfer list of Chelsea. They're making him train with the under-21s because they're trying to force him out the club, which, is a whole other thing. I think is part of, it's a part of that is because Chelsea are acting like dickheads towards their own players who are homegrown to try and get money from them to balance the books. But poor Chalobah. Like, I feel like maybe this bit of clickbait actually cursed him. Like,
might be right.
Yeah, I think it jinxed him. Yeah, I hope he does. I hope he does. Just to spite Chelsea, I hope he does become one of the top 5 centre backs in the Premier League.
Chelsea, I can see them basically imploding this season because their transfers, their squad is ridiculous.
Yeah, their squad is unreal. Yeah,
I mean, I looked at it, how many goalkeepers they got. It's just
Chelsea. I think at the moment they have about 50 players on their books, like first team players.
Yeah, I mean, why? Why do you have that many players? So that's why I can see Chelsea literally just imploding in it. And then he pulled Maresca in, which, I mean, Chelsea loves shopping from Leicester, but it's they pulled Maresca in there.
Yeah.
After just one season at Leicester, and bear in mind, Leicester's the first team he's ever really managed, and he and we got promoted to the Premier League, but he's never proven himself in the Premier League.
No.
He's proven himself in the Championship, but not in the Premier League.
They probably went out and got a philosophy manager, so somebody who has like a very distinct style and distinct way that they want to play. Basically saying, look, just scale that up. So what you do, let's scale that up to Chelsea and basically make us play the same type of football. And I think sometimes those are the actions of like owners who I think don't really know football. To just say like what you did there, just go and do that again over here, because there's so many variables when it comes to football. That one doesn't equal one in every single club.
No. And the thing is that Abramovich knew his football. He knew his football, but these new Chelsea owners don't seem to have a clear. That's what I think. I think Chelsea are going to have a disaster of a season.
You're gonna reverse jinx them if you're not careful, because you said that like 2-3 times.
I think Chelsea are going to win the Premier League, and Maresca's going to be manager of the year.
Oh my God, if Maresca ends up being manager of the year, I'm going to make a bold statement on the internet, and I'm going to end up regretting later. But if Maresca ends up being manager of the year, then I don't know. I'll eat an A4 notepad on air. I don't know. I'm trying to work out what's
we'll hold you to that.
What's a bold?
I don't think you. Personally, I think your A4 notepad will be fine. Yeah. It's but if we're going to make predictions at some point, I think Chelsea are going to have a disaster.
Predictions are such a slippery slope when it comes to like football podcasts, because people will then lord that over you. You know, like in 5 years' time, people are going to be like, oh well, you guys seem to be doing all right, but you didn't predict that Chelsea were going to win the league this season, so you know what? You guys are idiots. You guys are more.
You guys suck.
You guys suck. You don't know anything.
But it's hard to predict it. Like, remember when Leicester won the Premier League? No one predicted that would happen.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a safe bet to kind of predict Man City will win it.
Yeah. Well, it's if the odds for us staying up are 450 to 1, then I wonder what the odds on us winning the title are.
Oh, God,
that must be astronomical.
Yeah, but it's probably more than. They'll never do 5,000 to 1 because they don't want to lose that money again.
No, exactly. Shall we move on to the second bit of ClickMates? So,
go on.
The final article of the ClickBaits that, to be honest, is less clickbait and more just really fun to me if it is true. So this one is from Sports Bible. So
they are beautiful when it comes to this shit.
Yeah, so Sports Bible have the ultimate sort of this player at this club has fought this. What do you think? And then you look at the comments and it's nothing to do with that guy. You know, it's just such a misleading title on purpose because they know it's going to get people to click. But
that's it.
The one that I'm looking at the moment is that Martin Braithwaite, who football fans in Middlesbrough, I think it was, would probably remember. He used to be a striker for them. Martin Braithwaite wants to buy the La Liga side Espanyol, despite leaving the club 20 days ago. So apparently Martin Braithwaite is absolutely minted, and because Espanyol have decided to let him go, he was like, screw it, I'm going to buy the club, which, if true, is a genuine Michael Jordan move. Like, that's a real, I took it personal, I'm going to spite you guys, I'm going to be successful just to spite you guys kind of move.
It's an ultimate power move. Like, I mean, it's like basically getting sacked from your work and then buying the company and then sacking them. Because I think you showed me that article. It's I think he said he's going to clear out the chairmen.
So
Espanyol.
I'll read it out loud for you. So the 34-year-old Danish forward, who played a key role in Espanyol's promotion to La Liga last season, scoring 22 goals in 39 games, walked away from the RCDE stadium on July the 15th. In his own words, Braithwaite was disrespected when the club presented him with an unacceptable contract offer. Standard stuff. After earning blah blah blah, Euro club blah blah blah, blah I received shows that they don't trust me. Braithwaite's relationship with Espanyol's hierarchy also strained. According to Marca, the Spanish paper, he is ready to make a somewhat unexpected business move. The report claims that Braithwaite wants to get rid of the current owners at Espanyol, who did not let him leave last summer in search of a club in the top division. So he's annoyed that they didn't let him leave, and it cost him a chance to go to the Euros. So to be fair, he has a point. I don't know.
Would he have got in the squad?
Huh? Would he have
got in the squad?
I don't know, actually.
Would Martin Braithwaite got in the squad?
He's Danish, so I was wrong. He's not Norwegian, he's Danish. But
Danish. Would he have got in the Denmark squad?
I don't know, because they got Højlund. Maybe it's like a backup.
They got Christian Eriksen. I don't know. I don't know about that one.
I don't know about that one. But what's...
But if that turns out to be true, then he is... that is going to be the biggest power move ever.
I would honestly, he would become like one of my top 5 strikers of all time if he did this. And not completely unrelated to the football, he would just become one of my top 5 strikers of all time because so it says here, back in 2017, Braithwaite is said to have invested 617 grand in a real estate business, and he partnered with Uncle. It grew to be worth 7.2 million in the space of 6 years. And the business is now apparently worth about 180 million. So this guy is minted. Like, minted.
He's minted?
Yes.
But is that enough to sustain a football team?
Maybe. Well, back in 2020, Forbes claimed the former Barca striker was only behind Messi when it came to overall earnings. Again, it's... I don't know if that's part of the clickbait or if that's actually part of what Forbes said. Is Forbes clickbait now? I don't know. But...
Who's going to quote Forbes in there?
They always do this. They always add in like a respectable source just to like somewhat legitimize what they've just said. But honestly, Martin Braithwaite, if you are listening to this podcast, which I'm sure you are all the way in Denmark. If you are, please do this. Like, you will become. I promise you will become like the official sponsor of this podcast. We will sing your praises every single week if you do this. Please do it.
Oh, it would be great if we got him on the podcast.
Because if there's one thing I love in life, I'm gonna say, if there's one thing I love more than anything, it is spite.
It's the greatest thing. Like, I would love to be in a position where I had enough money where if I got fired from somewhere, I could just buy the company and just sack everyone there.
Exactly. That is the ultimate, like, big bollock move. Which I think if he does it, top 5 strikers of all time to me.
Oh yeah. Then definitely. Yeah. Greatest ever. Give him the Ballon d'Or.
Give him the Ballon d'Or. So that's a good place to leave it, right? Like, first episode down. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it's been good. It's been emotional.
Yeah, this has been emotional.
And all of the season, Here we go. We'll give you all our insights after the first games of the season.
Yes, we will. So this will be out every week. We're doing like a roundup of the Premier League that week, and because as we established earlier, that's the league Leicester are in, so it's going to be the only league that we're going to pay attention to, obviously.
And if Leicester get relegated, then get ready for some championship news, guys.
We're back to being a champ. Well, I say back to. We weren't a thing last year. If that happens, then we're going to be a championship podcast. So fun times, guys. This is a real.
There you go.
Following whoever has the money. in this case, it's Leicester City Football Club. We are in this really confusing position though, where I feel like we're marketing ourselves as a generic football, like general football podcast, but we are very specifically tailored towards Leicester. So it's like we're caught between two different audiences here.
We've tried to be generic, but then we literally went biased straight away.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed our aimless ramblings about Leicester, about football, and about Martin Braithwaite, most importantly.
Martin Braithwaite. He is the real star.
He is the real star. Thank you. I've been Zane Follett.
I've been Taryn Shelley.
And see you later.